First, to make sure the clay is in the very good center. The bed you see here is my bed. Okay? It's a new bed. It's made out of fiberglass reinforced plastic. It's very sturdy and very firm. This bed is very firm. All right, center in. The first thing you want to do is try to make sure your clay, you put it in the center. You want to start with the clay in the very good center, especially when you want to throw a large amount of clay. This method is called slab centering. Try to get the clay into the center. It will save you a lot of effort. Okay. And you see that I don't usually cone up my clay. All I do is brace in my right hand here and use my left hand and use the fingertip to kind of adjust here. And you can see that the inside here is kind of dry. Okay. That is how you use it. You force so efficiently. If you try to push that, you would kind of distribute all your force. So try to use the point pressure. It will save you a lot of effort. Try to center a large amount of clay. And you see that only a couple push, my clay is in the center already. Right. Okay. And you see that I don't use a lot of my strength to squeeze the clay up and then push it back down. Okay. If you are not very strong people, try to use it for smartly. Okay, smartly. And drill first. As you can see that when I'm doing it, I also always have my elbow sitting here, kind of brace it here to make it more stable. And then everything is connecting to my right hand to stabilize it. Like I'm here, I'm drill it, I kind of brace my left hand to my right. And then I just take it, drill it in, and brace it here too, right? I also don't use a whole lot of water. You see that I use water just when I need it. That's all you need, okay? You don't need to use a sponge and squeeze it. The water is going in your splash pan. And you see that my splash pan now is still very dry. And try to use more of the slip. Recycle your slip. Don't wipe it, okay? Put the slip back to work. And one other thing, I don't know if you have noticed or not, my wheel speed is not going super fast, okay? The faster your speed, the faster the centrifugal force is going to toss your hands around. So you don't need to go super fast. And once you reach to the base, usually I will leave it about 3/8 to half of an inch thick. And then you want to spread your hand inside and kind of compress it. So that your floor is being compressed and also the floor is flat. Just use the tip here and then you go sideways and slightly go back and forth, okay, back and forth. And you can use a fingernail to kind of make the corner a little bit sharper. Usually people have a clay, too much clay build up in inside corner because you don't open it up very sharp. So you end up with having too much clay hanging inside, so your piece is too heavy. That's because of that. And also you have a clay hanging on the outer part, so that causes why your piece is heavy. So try to move the clay in. Like here, I already built up my floor, and then the part here, if you have some clay hanging out there, you can actually squeeze it in. And this is how I do it. Again, brace hand here, and use the fingertip, and move it. Move the clay in. Okay, move the clay in. And this piece of clay is fairly thick, so I will try to squeeze it up first. Okay, this is how I usually do when my clay is fairly thick. Put your right hand here, using this part here, support it, and this hand slightly support here. On the inside hand, push the clay against the wall, and then you raise it up. When your clay is thick, okay, when your clay is thick. Questions? No? Okay. If you have a question, just ask. Okay, ask. Push that against it, and you move it up. Recycle the slip. I'm going to do one more time. Push that against it and raise it up. Okay, now the wall, especially the bottom corner, is a lot thinner, and then I can use my other method to raise it up. Alright, so put the slip back to work. Usually I like to use the slip on the inside, so use that to coat it. Outside is a lot easier, just by dipping the hand in the water and coat it on the surface. That's all you need. And color your clay to make it taller. Okay, color to make it taller. And compress the rim. Slip back to work. A little bit of water. And kind of squeeze the clay in. Okay, control the corner so that it doesn't hang out too much. And after that, I'm going to raise up my wall by using my method, is the thumb method pouring. Okay, the thumb method is like this. Okay, this hand slightly touch on the side, but not too much of a squeeze. Most of the pressure point is just the tip of my thumb, and the fingers inside. Okay, like that. Okay, the inside finger you will form it naturally. Okay, slightly curved, but not too much. You don't want to use the nail, okay? Just use the pad. So you kind of go and push that slightly. That's how the finger is forming on the inside. And the outside hand is slightly below the inside finger. How do you make it slightly below? First, I call this belly out, okay? Push out the belly from the corner. See that the belly is coming out, right? And then start from there, brace your arm, start here, and use the thumb, push up the belly. Right, and slowly let go and compress.
I have a question. What's the advantage of doing this?
Why I do that versus the other way, right? Okay. So when you see when I'm lifting, where's my elbow? My elbow is always attached to my body, so my hand is more stable here. If you are using this, usually people have the arm away from them, and you do that. There is no support. Versus here, see that it's more stable. Okay. If you are very stable people, that's fine. You could always do that. But make sure that you're gonna pour it up more efficient. Push out the belly. See that there's the belly, right? You can use that and you squeeze it up. From the belly, you could pull your clay more efficient. Okay. Right. So one more time. Slippery. Remove the slip. I use a slip versus water because water is not going to stick on the wall. So when you put water, it's going to be accumulated inside the puddle. Okay. So use the slip. You just toss it in and grab. Use the fingertip. Push that against the wall, and you lift it up before you move it up. Okay. when you lift, you want to make sure everywhere is slippery. That is very important. Okay. That is my teaching, especially for my beginner class. Always tell them, remember 3 S's. Okay. They all start with S. Speed control. The spinning speed of the wheel and the moving speed of your arm and hands has to go together. Okay. If your speed is faster, you have to go faster. Slow, you go slow. The optimum speed toward the spinning speed, your hand movement speed. You can see it's hard to see. Next time when I stop, you see that each gap should be, the distance should be the same. So 1 for rotation, you move up 1 notch. 1 for rotation, you move up 1 notch. Okay, that is very important. You don't go all of a sudden go too fast, or all of a sudden you stay there for a long time. That's no good. So 1 for rotation, you move up. 1 for rotation, you move up. Okay, that is very important. And why it is very important? Because if you are moving your hand too slow, you stay on the same spot for a long time, you tend to wipe up all your slip, and the surface become too sticky. When it's become too sticky, you got a lot of friction. That's why your piece is twist. Okay, twist. So has to be very important that move a hand, move your arm, move your fingers according to the speed of the wheel. Speed control. The second one is called slippery. Okay, always you see that I call my slip around the surface a lot. Slippery. The third one is called support. Right, finding support. Okay, so that 3 S's. Okay. All right. Belly out. Push the belly up. So you see, I told you that the distance of each ring should be the same, right? And after you lift it up, usually you want to compress the rim so it doesn't get wobbly. Right, and coat it again. Slippery. Collar to get it taller. Okay, so squeeze it. Squeeze it. All right. Slippery, slippery.
At the bottom of your tool, it looks like you're almost pushing from the inside.
I slightly, yeah,
Okay, so
push
you are
out a little bit, yeah, shape it a little bit.
Okay, so
But yeah, and also now you can see my clay, my wall start to dance, right? So that's usually the clay tells me stop pulling it up. That's the limit of clay. So don't pour up anymore. Now all you want to do is make the shape. Remove all your throw them up and make a shape.
The rim thicker than the rim.
Yeah, the rim I usually like to a little bit thicker, so the rim thicker is helping contain the shape. If you make it too thin, usually it gets wobbly easily there. So that's why you see the when I poured it up, usually I compress the rim. Usually I do that to make sure you control the rim. And later on, if you want to make it a bit taller or you want to close it, you still have clay to go. Right, and then I am slightly push out the clay against the rib. And not only I remove my throwing mark, but also I am shaping.
Did you slow the wheel down again?
Yes. So that the speed of, speaking of the speed of the wheel. So at the beginning, usually I tend to spin it slightly faster when you're centering, when you open it. But when you raise it up, slow down. And when I am shaping, I slow down further. So I would say maybe when you're centering, maybe like 60% or to 75% of a full power. And then when you open it up, maybe reduce to like 55% when you lift it. And when you shape it, maybe like 40%. Slow speed for better control. Okay? Slow for better control. Color to make it taller. By now, you see I've been tossed a lot of the slip inside, right? But if you come and take a look, there's nothing there. Why? Because when I'm shaping, I keep on grabbing the slip. So no more slip there. The inside is dry. Okay? You see it? You thought I would have a lot of slip there, but no. Right? They're very dry.
Really dry.
Yeah, very dry. So that's the beauty of using the slip, not water. So you see that I never use a sticker, but with the sponge to absorb the water out. You don't have
Signature box.
Yeah. That is 12 bucks? All right. Okay. So before I do final shaping, I like to make the opening smaller, so that way I don't need to, I don't have, since this is wider, so I could make it smaller. That is big enough for my arm to insert. So I am going to, and also I'm going to kind of slightly raise up the wall to make it slightly thinner. And it's just the fingertip lifting. Raise it up and thin down the wall a bit. Because I'm not pouring anymore, so I don't need to have a clay that is very thick to control the rim. Actually, move it up. This is what I do. Put my finger there and then the thumb pull this way toward the center to close it. That's one way to shrink your top. Instead of keep on pushing from the outside, you put finger there and then you pull. This finger support there and the thumb is pulled in the wall toward the center. Okay, so wide enough for me to put my hand inside.
Can you
And
run through the hand again?
hmm?
Are you doing the hand? Yeah.
The hand. So the fingers, make sure it's slippery. See that I grab the slip and put it there, right? And then put it inside. While the wheel is spinning, the thumb pull. Just like you pull up, but you instead of pull up, you pull in. Okay, pull the clip in. You lift it in. Like that. And then this hand, why I have this hand? Stabilize it. Right? Stabilize it. One hand is very unstable, so I put my right fingertip there to support it, stabilize it. Okay, so let's go back there and use that to finish up. Make the shape a bit better. And when you are shaping, now the important part is don't focus on your fingertip. Focus on looking the shape there. So that the lights coming here, and you can look at the profile. And your hand push accordingly. This part here, I want to come out a little bit, right? So I push a little bit harder. So when you're shaping, kind of bend your head here this way. Look at the profile. Here, I want it to come out a little bit, so my inside hand push out. You see that the curve is much smoother by using a metal rib. You will be able to bend it while you are shaping it. So that is flexible. So you could do that. Let me expand it out a little bit more. Some people do have a mirror in front of you, so you can see the mirror too. But I personally prefer just look at look at the piece itself. Okay, the fingers inside. You see that? Where? Let me do that. Okay, let me do one more time and pull out my finger, and you will be able to see my how wide or what my finger is fitting on the inside. Okay, so where the spot has no clip, that's where it touched the wall. Okay, so from here I start with this part here, but once I come to the shoulder, it's slightly supported here on the shoulder. Okay, so that the pad here is supporting.
Do you ever use the rib on the inside?
Well, I trust my fingers better than the rib, especially inside. Yeah. But I saw people are doing very good at using both ribs, both inside and outside. But the finger it's more versatile. Okay, when you find out that wall is wobbly, you can spread out the finger instead of together, right? Usually you go together, but sometimes, especially when it comes to the shoulder, it start to get wobbly. You can spread out your fingers, so you have more support. If you are using the rib, there's no such thing that you can make it wider. So that's why I prefer using my finger inside. Let me clean up here on the very bottom. Again, that support, okay, support. You can see that I spend about 2/3 of my time just shaping it. Okay. Spend more time on your shaping. If you don't like the wobbly top, then chop it off. I'm just trying to imitate that kind of texture on this part here, using the tip of my rib. I like to keep my bed clean every time after I draw. Wipe it. There's a couple lines that I don't like from the lines from the grog, so I will do my final smoothing. Okay, that is the thrown part, and then I'm going to alter a little bit. Check this part is slightly higher, so I'm going to pinch it. My finger there, go in there, and slightly push out the shoulder a little bit, and then pinch it. you want to make it a slightly squarish, slightly open up a bit. Okay, this is similar to that one, but on a shorter scale. And also, sometimes I do this. You might want to try it just for fun. You roll a clay ball and then you're gonna stick it in there. My hand is kind of slippery. That's probably a little bit too big. Let me. Roll a slice small clay ball. Okay, like that. So you put it on the rest of it. I will finish up put that later. So that's my demonstration today. Any question about basic throwing? You can do the basic throwing. This is about 4 pounds of a clay. 4 pounds I weighed before I started. Okay?
Could you show the
Yeah, and as awkward as they come.